quality versus quantity. This dichotomy is found throughout all corners of the world, and Call of Duty Zombies is no exception. Quality is a player like Freckleston achieving a major speedrun world record on a highly contested map, while quantity is, well, this is what quantity is. This is the COD Zombies player with 400 world records. In March of 2023, 4 players would band together to attempt a high round record on one of the most widely played Call of Duty Zombies maps, Shadows of Evil. Those 4 players were oJumpy, Skrine, GannonSnipes, and Keg124. And not only were they going to attempt it with 4 players, they were going to attempt it with no power and no gobblegums, which puts them in a whole different category and league of their own, almost quite literally. The round to beat was 65, which at this point had stood for about 3 years untouched. With more zombies per round than solo and no perks or pack-a-punch available, how this run reached a time of more than 25 hours was a surprise to me. As with all great runs, it began with the setup, which requires a civil protector to be available, the apothecary servant built and equipped by 1 player, and each player equipped with Arnie's, a shield, a fumigator, the sword, and a ray gun. And by the beginning of round 16, everything except the ray guns was achieved, putting them in a great position to continue the run. They make sure to keep the waterfront gate closed, as that is a vital component to the strategy they're utilizing. Then they take turns leading and killing the zombies, jumping between the apothecary servant to the sword and Arnie's while hoping for good power-up drops. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but I think you get the idea. Power-ups play a big role in this run, with max ammos being the most important, which can be very annoying considering that power-up drops are random. Or are they? On round 18, we can hear that a Carpenter power-up has dropped.
Carpenter. Bro, we need that.
Right after that, we hear Jumpy say,
"Should be double points next."
And sure enough, about 20 seconds later, the very next power-up that drops is a double points. But how did he know that, if power-ups are indeed random? Some of you more hardcore players may already know this, but power-ups drop on a cycle. I'm not going to get too technical, but basically, every round, you can get a total max of 4 drops. When 1 power-up is dropped, it will not drop again until all the others have also been dropped. If the first power-up of your drop cycle is a max ammo, you will not be able to get another max ammo until an insta-kill, a double points, and a nuke have all dropped as well. Then, the cycle resets and the drop order gets reshuffled, making every cycle independent of each other. Duplicate power-ups will never drop in the same cycle, but the first drop of a new cycle can be the same power-up as the last drop of an old cycle. That's why sometimes you might still get the same power-up back to back. Still with me? Okay, cause it's gonna get a little extra nerdy here. Starting your average game of zombies adds a total of 4 power-ups to the drop cycle, which is considered the perfect cycle. This is because, if you remember, you can get a total of 4 power-ups per round. It's not guaranteed, but that means that every round has the opportunity for a max ammo, which again is very important. But this isn't true for Shadows of Evil, because for some reason, on Shadows of Evil only, the max amount of power-ups that can drop per round is 2 instead of 4. I have no idea why that is. You may have noticed that I haven't included other power-up drops, notably Carpenter, despite seeing it drop in this run. That's because some power-ups have to be activated in order to start appearing in the drop cycle. Carpenter, for example, requires that at least 5 barriers are completely open. The Death Machine drop requires that the power is on or Quick Revive is bought, and the Fire Cell drop requires that the box be moved at least once. In this run, Carpenter and Fire Cell are both in the drop cycle, though because Quick Revive was not turned on or bought, there is no Death Machine drop in the cycle. This means cycling through drops takes a lot longer and greatly increases the amount of rounds it takes before you could get another max ammo. This is especially troublesome on higher rounds where they're needed the most. And for pretty much the entire run, power-ups are being tracked. Using a handy website like Zombekis, players can track their power-up cycle, which is essential for most runs like this one. This is how Jumpy knew that the next drop after the Carpenter would be a double points. It was the only power-up left in the cycle. Use this knowledge to impress your friends the next time you play. So for the next couple of hours, it was much of the same, though optimizing drop cycles and their ammo as best they could. As they get higher in the rounds, eventually max ammos would become more infrequent and they would run into a resource problem. What happens when they're all out of ammo and grenades? Well, it's time to fumigate. As most of you may already know, on SOE, players can pick up a fumigator and open a seed pod, and in those pods you can find weapons and power-ups. And on round 50, we'd see one of the first instances of these players having to do that. Everyone would head to their corners of the map and look through the seed pods while someone trained the zombies down in the subway. During this, it's still very possible to not get a max ammo, and this is what happens on round 51. So the final option that is pretty much guaranteed is trading out the Apothecon Servant for itself. You can throw it back in the box so you can roll for it again, replenishing the ammo.
Alright, start hitting Skrine.
I swear to God, if I get this one. Got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Sounds so defeated.
It says yeah.
And just like that, they're back in the game. But first, they needed some sleep. Yes, sleep, like with pajamas and soft blankets and everything.
Alright, it is approaching 2:30 a.m. Eastern. Well, when do we want to start?
I don't know, just sleep, dude.
Whenever, dude.
Well, Skrine says he has places to be and wanted to start early.
And if
we stay at time, let's all be there at the time.
I have to meet up for the dinner. I have to leave my house at like 2:55.
Because the run is so long, they have to coordinate their sleep schedule and optimize their time outside of the game. So that's where some AFK strats come into play. They each head to specific portals and hold down or back to infinitely teleport back and forth, which seems simple enough. Though, at the beginning of the second day, for some reason, overnight both Jumpy and Skrine had died, and Gannon was downed, leaving only Keg to clutch up and revive him early in the morning.
Yeah, Gannon just randomly down, so I panicked, had to revive him 3
So my
times.
just like randomly stopped working.
Apparently, going through someone else's portal while they are AFKing can mess up their setup.
They landed on each other's heads and bled during the sleeper. Idiots.
The run got dangerously close to ending here, but after they got their squid back and everyone got their swords and arnies ready, it was back to business as usual, allowing them to eventually break the record by the end of the day. But they wouldn't stop there. Day 3 was much of the same. They'd go from round 68 to 79 in a little under 7 hours. And at the start of day 4, they were back at it. But this time, they would go for almost 12 hours straight in one sitting. And if you've ever played a long game of zombies before, you know how repetitive and boring it can be. After a while, you kind of just want to stop and do anything else. So what kind of stuff can you do to pass the time? Well, you might watch Hell's Kitchen.
Red team, blue team, change gear. Let's go.
You might make a pizza.
Yeah, cook your pizza. Cook your pizza.
I'll go cook a pizza.
Good a pizza.
You might watch Minecraft tutorials.
Another really sneaky entrance utilizes nether portals. If you set up 2 nether portals at just the perfect distance by shifting on the edge,
You might end up talking and arguing about the weirdest stuff.
The point of the pill is for you to ingest it.
Yeah,
So
you still
there-
ingest it.
I'm not sure if they have extensive testing on, oh, well, is this pill going to be fine if I let it dissolve in water, you know?
No, it will.
This dissolves in the
Oh,
water. and
where's your
sun-
medical degree, dude?
Most people drink water with their pill. Of course it works with water.
Okay,
Like,
but it's a solid. That's different.
brother, it's the same thing.
It's not the same.
Brother, a dust and a solid are the same thing. They're both solids. One's just finer than the other.
That's what I mean.
That's how that works.
Medical guy, help us there.
You might grief each other.
Crazy. Yes, yeah. Oh, no, we're done.
Call in the civil. Get the civil. Get the civil.
Get the civil, dude.
Call him in.
And you might even play Black Ops 3 Zombies. When you're doing stuff with friends, things are a little bit different, aren't they? As they approach rounds in the late 90s, it was going to take around an hour just to get through a single round. Reaching round 100 with 4 players and no power, perks, or gums would be an impressive milestone, especially considering that the world record with Mega Gobblegums is a 102. They were about to break.
I see. I
I see.
no shot.
Okay, this game died. PC must have exploded, dude.
And just like that, the run was over. An unfortunate end to this exceptional endeavor. More than 31 hours and days of work and planning gone in an instant. Though they would be forced to end just 1 round before the 100 mark, to this day, this run remains as a world record for a few categories. And even though they didn't make it as far as they probably would have hoped for, round 99 with 4 players and no power, perks, or gums on Black Ops 3 is still incredibly commendable. These group of players were friends, all working towards a common goal, even if it meant disrupting their sleep schedules and day-to-day life, just to break a record in Call of Duty Zombies. Now, imagine the kinds of things that would happen in 400 more records. Out of the 4 players mentioned in this run, 1 would become obsessed and make history. So, who are you?
So my name is Skrine99. Everyone just calls me Skrine.
In March of 2019, Skrine would begin their world record journey by achieving a Black Ops 4 9 all-elixir 4-player Easter egg speedrun. Unfortunately, no footage is available of this run, but ultimately, this would jumpstart his interest in Zombies world records. Before this, he had no idea that Zombies even had speedruns or world records of any kind.
Like, I had no idea. So my buddy's like, hey, let's go for a world record. And he showed me the GWR and all this stuff. And I was like, wait, it's like a kid walking to a candy shop for the first time and you're like, you know, eyes wide open. You're like, whoa, like this is like everything I've been missing. Like, and I was hooked. Like, I mean, literally hooked.
The earliest run we have footage of is of a 9 2-player high round that was achieved in April of 2020. Accompanied by iStanklin, this duo would go on to break the high round record and achieve a round of 116. Much of this run is spent underneath in the flooded crypt, swapping between the Circuit's Kiss, explosives, and the specialist weapon, while also throwing out homunculi. They would break this record in a single play session of 12 hours. At the end of this run, we can hear Skrine's excitement.
Oh man, we are now officially the world record holders. Oh my god, bro.
This was still early on in Skrine's COD Zombies career, so the reaction was definitely warranted. Though no longer the world record now, 4 years later, it still remains within the top 3. An impressive run nonetheless. This run would also give us a glimpse into the future of Skrine's blazing Black Ops 4 phase. About a month later in May, Skrine would play one of the most significant Zombies games of his career. As part of a charity stream, Skrine, Link, and Crimson Genius would attempt to achieve the world's first co-op classified Easter egg completion, which, if you didn't know, requires you to reach round 150. This would be a monumental task, but they had a little something up their sleeve. And this little something would end up changing not just the category, but every high round Black Ops 4 category as well. In 3 words, how would you describe your co-op classified Easter egg record?
Long, repetitive, fun.
In Black Ops 4, the perk system was infamously altered from the way it worked in previous games. We have 4 slots here at the bottom of our screen. Each slot can equip a single perk. When every slot is filled, the player can activate the 4th perk's modifier, adding an extra bonus effect to that perk. For instance, equipping Stamina increases the player's movement and stamina regen speed. But if equipped and active in the 4th slot, the player gains unlimited sprint and the additional ability of being able to shoot their weapon while sprinting. Every perk has their own unique modifier effect like that one. And this is where Electric Burst comes into play. If you don't already know, Electric Burst is a perk that when equipped gives the player the ability to discharge electricity and stun nearby zombies when they reload. And when it's equipped and active in the modifier slot, that's the 4th slot, reloading will store an electrical charge that will empower the next melee attack by the player. Another feature of Electric Burst is that the more empty your weapon is when you reload, the greater the electrical damage. And when it's in the modifier slot, the longer the stun as well. If only there is a weapon that could take advantage of this feature, double as a melee weapon, and had the ability to reuse its own ammo. Oh, would you look at that? There's a weapon exactly like that, the ballistic knife. So what happens when you use Electric Burst in tandem with a ballistic knife? Well, you break the game. Shooting the ballistic knife instantly reloads the weapon, applying the electric burst charge, and if the knife is shot nearby, can be picked back up by the player. Then, the player has 10 seconds where they can unload the electric charge for what seems like infinite damage. Rinse and repeat and you could practically go forever. Skrine, Link, and Crimson Genius would use this strat to achieve the world's first co-op classified Easter egg run in a little under 66 hours, also making this one of the longest co-op Black Ops 4 Zombies games of all time. Their usage of the ballistic burst strat was so broken that the Zombies World Record site had to add a rule banning the strat, which would also cause the run to be removed thereafter.
It was so much fun. It was so stupid, but like it was so much fun. Like the entire game was just us having a good time. Like it was just watching movies together, doing whatever. Like it was so much fun. And then so we get done with the game after 65 hours, and you would think, all right, time for bed, because we got done at like 4 a.m. We're like, all right, time for bed. Like everyone tells each other goodbye. We sit up for like another 6 hours. Like, hey, yo, let's hop on World at War right now. Like let's I'm feeling it. Like none of us were tired when we got done. We were just so locked in. Like one of the good memories. That's kind of when I started actually running records was back then. So it's such a good memory.
Skipping over to April of 2022, we finally get to see some intense Black Ops 3 action, this time on Gorod Krovi, starting with a first room 4-player high round run, which is considered to be one of the most difficult starting rooms. Skrine, together with Conqueror, xFob, and a badass monkey, would go on to break the record. This run is notable because it was Skrine's first attempt at this starting room record, and it still stands as the world record. This run was impressive, but also a complete mess. At the end of almost 5 hours of playing, they accumulated a total of 266 downs. The footage has no audio, but you can only imagine the type of frantic energy in that game's comms. And the amount of times they came close to losing the run was insane.
Because it's just constantly us just winging it. We just kept winging it, and eventually winging it stopped working, and it was just so much fun.
Yeah, unfortunately that footage is has no audio at all.
Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked. But damn, woo, I wish you could hear it. Holy moly.
Which leads us into the next record that was set on Gorod Krovi, and it's one of the most impressive and optimized 4-player runs I've ever seen. What's so special about the Gorod Krovi 4-player 30-round speedrun?
The fact of how it works and how it has to be done. Like you can't just get a group of friends and just do it and just get to round 30. Like you need such an absurd amount of cooperation and kind of luck that it just all has to work out so well. At the end of a round, you get a break. You can, get a breather, get a drink, snack, whatever. You get like 15 seconds, take a break. But with this GK4P, there are no breaks. It was just, we started and for 24 minutes straight, it was nonstop. We have to be locked in. We cannot miss a beat or we have to reset. So that it was just fun that it's like one of the only records like that. And I really like how it felt playing.
So this is a 30-round speedrun. They have to get to round 30 as fast as possible. The players, Jumpy, Gannon, Mangoes, and Skrine. The strat used was so precise that all 4 players needed to be 100% focused. This run revolves around gobblegum cycles and timing. It's the ultimate test of teamwork and cooperation. It's like a marching band, but with less sunlight and no grass. So essentially, the way this run works is that when a growth module lands, the zombies' spawn rate is heavily increased, and there are no round transitions. Because of this, they are able to keep the rounds moving quickly, though it came with some risk. If zombies are able to get past anyone, the growth module will break, ending the run. To make things easier, they had a constant cycle of insta-kill and death machines, as well as continuous cycling for the temporal gift Gobblegum. And Gobblegums cycle similarly to the way power-ups cycle. So if you want to get a specific gum again, you have to cycle through all the other Gobblegums before you can get the one you want again. The toughest part was doing all that gum cycling and consuming while still not allowing the zombies to get through. This required quite nearly perfect cooperation between everyone for more than 20 minutes. Though we only get to see Jumpy's perspective here, which is equally as interesting. I mean, look at how he's snapping to the zombies. Bro should be playing Counter-Strike. But Skrine's role in this run was to cover the window right by the VMP, which was made even more difficult thanks to the dragon's fire breath that came down every so often. And what's crazy is that for pretty much the entire run, there's an active insta-kill. I've never seen anything like that. This run would go on to break the previous record by about 5 minutes, which Skrine was also a part of. This was a massive improvement, and it's still the world record today. This run would also go on to become the fastest 30-round speedrun in all of Black Ops 3 Zombies. So at this point, Skrine would start to collect a plethora of world records. But before the sunshine may reach you and the rainbows reveal, you must find your way through the clouds. In late 2022, Skrine would be accused of cheating, which is a pretty big deal when it comes to speedrunning and world records. This is because Skrine, along with Scrappy, Lilyman, and myRazmo, would utilize a new Black Ops 4 zombie strat and go on a killing spree with it, beating every single 3-player and 4-player round 30 and round 50 speedrun world record in a short amount of time. But how? What was the strat? Well, they discovered that depending on the amount of players in the game, after a certain round, it was actually faster to let the zombies spawn in and kill them slowly as opposed to killing them as fast as they spawn. So, they started getting faster times despite looking like they were slower. They would use this knowledge to demolish many of the records. Naturally, this made people who previously held these records a bit upset, leading them to accusing Skrine and his friends of cheating. Unfortunately for his detractors, humbling people was Skrine's specialty. Many of the records that were left thereafter ended up being broken as a direct response to the accusers, which from Skrine's perspective included a rather interesting stream overlay, and even world record runs with titles and descriptions such as 9 4P 50SR Infinite Elixirs, Patch Gladiators, Patch Spawns, Patch Box, Patch Drops. In this game, we patched everything. This is hands down the fastest game ever. We patched it so we are faster than anyone could ever possibly be. You can see my injector constantly ejecting faster spawns. Anyone who thinks this game is not legit is correct. It's not legit. It is the most cheated game on BO4. Unfortunately, my injection mod tool crashed on 47 and failed to inject the final gladiator run on 49 to give us a perfect game. That is okay though, because in order to beat us, you have to cheat as well, which would make you a cheater. GG's to my fellow dirty cheater teammates, Scrappy Patchy and myCheater. Another patched game, another game for BO4 players to complain about. Snoozing on this cheater talk. POV, instead of trying to understand why we are faster, you complain and assume we're cheating. Maybe get smarter and better sounds like a massive skill issue. Tough sight watching grown men complain like children over a BO4 4P all elixir 30SR because they can't fathom being slow. Lamau. Pathetic. Get good. Another one bites the dust. POV, I predict all the dog rounds and we all get Hellions and ray gun, but surely we are not cheating. Here's the patch in this game that includes dog patch, spawn manipulator, and zombie counter. And it's just a Rickroll link. Privatizing and deleting your videos doesn't change the fact we beat you. They were getting rolled and smoked. Their accusers got so upset that they deleted all their runs. And if you've been paying attention to some of the footage, yes, even a death threat was thrown in there somewhere. Ultimately, nothing would come from these accusations except that Skrine would continue to break even more records. What was it like to be accused of cheating?
I just thought it was kind of funny, and it was always like, oh, you're definitely cheating, and then they would just keep saying you're cheating, and like, oh, we know you're cheating, and then just never, they never show proof. And they're like, oh, I got an exposed video, like you're done for, and then it never comes out. And sometimes I do want the exposed video to come out because it's like I'm actually interested in like what you pulled, like what did you get, like because I want to see what you can like conjure up.
After all this time, did you do it? Did you cheat?
So no, I did not cheat, but I always love telling people, my guys, one of my records is cheated and you got to find it. Like I love like figure out which one. One of them's cheated. Yeah, I'll admit I cheated one of them, but which one?
Yeah.
Like you try and figure it out.
Yeah, so you hear that? If you want to find out if he cheated, you're going to have to look through all 500 and something records. So good luck.
So yeah, one of them I get 2 thunder guns.
Ooh. Heading into 2023, Skrine was inching closer and closer to the big 400, and he started off the year strong in January with an Infinite Warfare Zombies record. Oh yeah, Skrine is a certified zombie head, not just for the Treyarch games. I mean, it's kind of hard to have this many records on only one game. This was a 3-player high round record on Attack of the Radioactive Thing, featuring Skrine, TripOverThis, and myRazmo. They use a specific setup that requires a player to block spawns using C4, which I had no idea was even possible. They also use the Violet Ray Trap and place it down over and over again to take care of the zombies heading into the high rounds. It looks a little funny, but it works. It's all obviously a bit more complicated than this, but TripOverThis made a video that covers it very well, so go check that out if you want to know exactly how to do it. This strat allowed them to reach round 132 in about 45 hours. This run is currently still the world record in this category, and it also happens to be the longest 3-player game in Infinite Warfare Zombies. The only reason the run ended was because Skrine shot his mad wonder weapon into a horde of zombies, crashing the game.
Oh, wait. What?
That just crashed the game.
No way, we crashed!
No! No! I just crashed the game. I shot him. I killed a full horde with the mad.
With the
No!
yeah.
A little less than 2 months later, at the beginning of March, the Shadows of Evil 4-player record we covered earlier would be set. And by the end of the month, Skrine would achieve yet another significant world record. A speedrun of the 4-player super Easter egg in Cold War Zombies. That's every Easter egg in Cold War Zombies completed back to back in just 1 hour and 23 minutes. Beating the previous time by almost 20 minutes. Skrine would join up with Mhyke, Valley172, and BicBoy to beat not only the Super Easter Egg world record, but also the Firebase Z Easter Egg speedrun by 4 seconds. Skrine's role in this Super Easter Egg record was more of a moral support role. He pretty much got this record by being available to play and was just tagging along through all the games. But that's sort of the nature of some co-op runs. Like with school projects, sometimes only 1 or 2 people actually do all the work while everyone else just writes their name when it's time to submit. Of course, I'm not saying that every co-op record by Skrine is like that, but if it was going to be any record, this Super EE would be that kind of record. But you know, a world record is a world record. So far, every record covered has been a co-op record, and that's sort of a beautiful thing. If we look back at the beginning of the video with the 4-player Shadows of Evil record, we see what kind of stuff goes on during the long hours of a Zombies world record run, including the kinds of people you meet and conversations you might have, the friendships built over those countless hour-long high rounds, friends competing and working together to optimize strats while pushing each other to do their best, the rivals, the doubters, being proven wrong. This is what goes on. Whether the run lasts 5, 10, 50, or 100 hours, time flies by when you're with friends. And that's what makes co-op runs even more special. It's hard to meet all these people and share these experiences when you're playing solo. Ironically enough, Skrine would achieve a solo world record in May of 2023 and become the first player to ever reach 400 total world records. This world record run was a solo 30-round speedrun of Carrier in Advanced Warfare. Skrine would go on to complete this run in about 30 minutes and 14 seconds. This run involved acquiring the Limbo Wonder Weapon, which Skrine gets first try, pack-a-punching the hell out of it, which Skrine would pap a total of 20 times, and playing Plinko. Skrine was okay at gambling. I'll admit, it's a bit of an anticlimactic record, but it's still impressive in its own right. What's more important is the work it took to get here. Over hundreds of days and countless hours, the 400th world record was achieved. What did it feel like to finally hit that 400th world record?
I mean, it was more of like a relief. It's like that scene at the end of Avengers when Thanos sits down in the chair. That was me. Like, I was like, oh, like finally I can rest. That was me. I was so determined to just get records and play the game and get better and learn and just get records. Like every day, just get records. When I got number 400, I played a few more records that like I already had planned, but then I was like, I'm kind of done. Like I had instantly lost all desire to play. At that point, I was like, I kind of got everything I want. Like there's really like nothing I have a desire to get, or I'm like, ooh, like that sounds like fun or this or that. I'm like, no, like I'm good. Like I could quit right now and I'd be totally satisfied. So
After this run, Skrine would no longer feel that same desire for records as he used to. 400 was his mountain, and he had reached the summit, though he would still go on to achieve more records. Notably, his first solo Easter egg world record, which is a speedrun of the Easter egg on Vanguard's Shinonuma Reborn, beating the previous world record by 3 whole minutes, bringing him up to a total of more than 100 Vanguard world records, topping the leaderboards. So, do you want to break a record?
hell yeah, brother. Let's get this sneaky bag.
Let's do it. This is my 4th time playing the map.
It's like my 5th time. Don't worry, trust. Don't forget, don't buy perks.
Yeah.
I will admit I played no perks, and I'm like, wait.
Thing is, when I was playing with perks and everything in armor, like I was trying not to get hit because I knew that we were going to be like 1 hit, but I would still get hit.
I mean, you get used to it. Because when you're watching just one, you're watching the one climb up. I'm watching the double climb up. The only reason you'll get hit is if you just like kind of like space out.
Yeah.
Ooh, you likey armor. All right, follow me.
So we were doing no armor. That's why I didn't pick it up. Oh my god. I thought I was gonna be the one to fuck it up. Thank God. Oh, I'm less stressed out. Okay.
Yeah, it's force of habit. Literally like 2 minutes before, hey, don't forget, don't grab perks, force of habit. Oh boy, piece of candy.
I mean, that's a Vanguard thing, bro. The big shiny stuff pops out and you just have to grab it. It makes you want to grab it.
It's such habit. Bad RNG.
Yeah, that was bad RNG, I agree.
Bad RNG. Yeah, say like that side, it's easier.
It was a boomer ad and low health. Might be.
Oh yeah, I have resurrection. I can just stand on you. I'm chilling. You are 2-hit right now.
Yeah, I need to remember that.
And then once we pass 30, you'll be a 1-hit.
Damn. Okay.
All right, just chill here. So you got a storm, so he's all the way back there. Yeah, he won't shoot you until he gets up to the window, and then you can just kill him.
There you go.
Like it's so easy. Yeah, there she is. All right, she jump off. She's gonna come in.
What?
Oh. Okay.
Oh, okay,
That's
so
fine.
I guess it wasn't too bad though, as long as you have self-revives. Only one of us has to use it, and then they can revive the other, so it's not that big a deal.
And I can go buy another one now, so I'm chilling.
Yeah, we're chilling.
It happens. It's not like when you go down, it's really not a big deal.
Okay.
It's a game like this or Cold War because I can just self-revive, get up, throw a decoy.
I'm so used to it being like a terrible thing because of all the other zombie games. Run 100, yay! All right, that's all I need. Bye. Not playing. We're at 4 hours and 3 minutes.
Oh shoot, so we are faster. They were at 415 to 100, I'm pretty sure, with perks and everything. I'm not wrong. So we're at 5 minutes. Thing up. The dollars from it, like just 5 minutes we're done. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Look at decoy. Shinonuma, 2P, 120, Mad Dog and Jordan.
There we go. 121. And just like that, by reaching round 121, we had broken 3 records simultaneously, achieving a high round world record with no jug, no perks, and no armor. We used a very specific combination of covenants and the box strat. Most of the run, we were a 1-hit down, but thanks to self-revive and things like the Ether Shroud and Resurrectionist, it wasn't too difficult. It was more about time rather than skill, but it was still really cool to finally have a few world records under my belt. So big thanks to Skrine for teaching me the strat and helping me achieve these records. and that is quantity. Perhaps no single run could be considered high quality, though I believe, and maybe many of you would agree, that the relationships created and experience shared are the only marks of quality a person really needs. So in that sense, there's quality in the quantity. In the many discussions shared between myself and Skrine, he aims to climb back up to even higher peaks, which includes a possibility of a total of up to 440 world records. I also asked Skrine about 500 world records, and he had this to say. You planning on hitting 500 at all, or do you think Razmo will be the first to hit it? Including his ult, he'll probably hit it before me. But maybe I get a bunch on BO6, I don't know. He'll probs get it before me if I ever even hit that. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll see with BO6. Excited to see what kind of stuff y'all end up doing in that game too. My reign is over. Lift your head up, King. Your crown is falling. myRazmo, who I mentioned earlier, has been steadily climbing up to 400 world records himself, and will probably hit 400 soon if they haven't already, and maybe even 500 thereafter. So I guess we'll have to see. One of these two players could be the first to hit a new peak for total world records, or perhaps it could be another. The current total world record standings are GannonSnipes at 253, Maxinor at 278, oJumpy at 302, myRazmo at 372, and Skrine at 401 world records. These are the top 5 players in terms of total world records, though these change and move around almost every other day. So there's a huge chance that by the time you see this, the standings will be completely different. And since a lot of the records amongst the top 5 players are co-op records, many of these records were achieved with each other. Just a group of friends constantly winning. You love to see it. Skrine has since shifted his focus on spreading his knowledge and providing resources to the Zombies high round and speedrun community, which includes a Zombies information sheet that has everything you need in order to understand technical aspects of high rounds and speedruns in every Zombies game, including non-Treyarch Zombies games, down to the millisecond, all collected and tested by the best and most knowledgeable Zombies players. I'll have it linked in the description.
There's so much information on here that you can't Google it, you can't find it in a video. You have to look at a spreadsheet to see it in order to know it. Unless you want to memorize 150 round times, go for it. But what rounds are insta-kill rounds on hardcore BO4 when they're water infused? You're not going to find that anywhere else. I promise you won't find that. Not even on Zombies Wiki, you won't. But there is someone crazy enough who tested it and figured it out.
Skrine puts this information out there because he wants more people to run zombies and be a part of the community. In fact, Skrine challenges every single person watching to attempt to beat any of his records. We'd both like to see you try. Skrine is also part of a team that aims to make that sort of knowledge even more accessible to new and experienced players. Together, they're launching Zombies HQ, or ZHQ.
It's just a hub of zombie stuff. So obviously leaderboards will be there. There's guides will be all over the place, mod tools and timer tools, camos, stuff like that. It's just gonna be a hub of tools, information, connections, and just anything you could possibly need will be on this website.
The website just recently launched. I'll provide a link to the site as well as their socials in the description. What would you say to people who want to get into zombie speedrunning or high rounding?
Ask questions, reach out, study, just learn the game, practice, make friends, be nice. It's such cliche, but it is how it works. That's quite literally how it works if you want to become a record player. Watch the world records, reach out to people. Everyone will say the same thing. I can't imagine anyone would say anything differently. Another big thing is just make sure you're having fun. When you realize you're not having fun anymore and the game's pissing you off and you're just getting mad all the time, take a break. Don't be afraid to take a month off. I've taken months off. Every big player has taken some time off at some point. Take the time off. This game is not life or death. I would say don't play games that make you mad. Then I'll go play Siege and scream at my monitor for 3 hours. Just do something else, because when you come back to the game fresh, that is when you're at your best. If you're agitated the game and every minor inconvenience is bothering you, you probably won't get record.
Are there any people or players that played a notable role throughout your Zombies career?
The two big ones is GannonSnipes and Razmo. These two, if I had to count how many records I had with these two, it's got to be like well over 200. Like easily half of my records are with one of these two guys. But it's not just these two. Max Snore would be another one. I probably have like 100 some records with him. Do you want me to like name off like a bunch of people that probably like 30 guys, all of which I know pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, just list them off. I mean, if their names are going to be in the video, and they're going to want to know, right?
All right. So GannonSnipes, there's Grave, Drain, Vibe, JT, Nice, Freckleston, Jumpy, Keg, Greg FPS, Kooky, Mhyke, Maxinor, RDE, Rorik, Lilman, Quadix, Crappy, Lizard, Trip, Nickname, Extreme, Square, Zay, YOLO, Conk, aka Conky Wonky, Big Boy, Valley, Mike, Zombie Dog, Dinor, Sway, Black Watery, Eli Swagpuss, Yahoosier, Crimson, Link, Pika, Bug of Cake, iMac, Becca, Chuck, Notex, Clarky, Confetti, Haruki, IMZ, Slaya, Randeezy, Dude, or L Dude, Wonder. C's is a special one. He is the guy I ran my first record with. He's the one who introduced me to zombies and actually introduced me to records. He's a special spot because he is the reason I'm here. Sniper Cat would be another one. I can think of a bunch more, but like that, I don't want to. I could literally name off like 150 people who have just been like great, like people I've met. That I'm like, yeah, great people. If I don't say your name, I swear to God, I'm grateful I have met you at some point, even if it was just one game or even just a few DMs. There's nobody that I regret. Okay, I'm not gonna say there's nobody I regret meeting. There are a few people that I'm like, oh man, no, like, it's just there's just so many people. It's hard. There's no one I can truly narrow it down to. Like the only one would arguably be C's because he's the reason I even discovered world records in the first place. So if it weren't for him, I don't know if I'd ever even know what a world record is in zombies. I actually don't know. So, and I definitely wouldn't be where I am at now if he didn't show me the way. What I like loved most, or the best part about doing all these records, is just all the people you meet. It's super corny, but that genuinely is like the one thing that like made going for all these records actually worth it, in my opinion, and actually so much fun. Like it's the only reason I kept doing what I was doing, strictly for the fact that it was just I had so many good people around me.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more, consider subscribing. All links for everything and everyone mentioned or featured in this video will be included in the description. This was the COD Zombies player with more than 400 world records.